Hello everyone, Namaste. I am Swan for those of you who haven't seen my videos or haven't seen me in a while, that you forget my name, that's okay. I am not attached to it. SWAN is an acronym. It means service to all, basically, in a form. Anyways, I'm sitting here in my car meditating, well, was meditating, and I just did a 30 minutes walk, which is also part of my meditation. And I started thinking about a video segment that I recently did when I was in Chicago, um, and the subject was supposed to be about our finances, our financial needs, and how we could help others understand their finances and how to go about changing what needs to be changed. And what I talked about during that segment was um, the six basic fears human beings, according to the law of success, which is one of my favorite book. Um, human being has six basic fear. We have way more than that. I can guarantee you that. But the one that pops up and torture us the most are the six that were talked about in the book, which are, I'm not sure if I remember all of them. Poverty is one of them. Fear of criticism, fear of losing someone that you love, fear of there's several different types. For some reason I don't remember them all. But my interviewer asked me what was my fear, and I had to be honest. My fear, my biggest fear, is poverty. I believe that fear probably came from either the fact that I was born in a poor country, in a poor family, perhaps deeper than that. Perhaps it came from my soul, where I was either super poor or I was either super rich, that I was afraid to be poor again. Um, it's one of the things that I realize about fears. Whatever fear that you have, you will inevitably give birth to it. Whether you give birth to it through a child, whether you give birth to it through a husband that you pick, whether you give birth to it through a career that you pick or a best friend, your fear will eventually stare at you in the face through some form or shape. And I live with my fear every day. Every day, the way that I live, the way that because it is contrary to the way that I desire to live. Everybody desires to live a life of peace in us, where you don't have to worry about where next meal is coming from, or whether you're going to make the rent or the mortgage at the end of the month. And if you are still have those things in your mind on a regular basis, then you are most likely living out your fear. And I lived my fear of poverty for years, decades, probably longer than I've realized that I was living out this fear. And one of the things that I decided is that, okay, the fear is here. I've already given birth to it. I've already witnessed it. I already live with it, which is a great step, because once it is identified, then you can find a way to embrace and love it. One of the things that people don't understand, and that they probably will spend a lifetime not understanding, is that whatever that you love, you will set free. Whatever that you hate will continue to torture you. So one of the things that I had to do in my subconsciousness, I had to identify the fear and says to myself, well, you are my best creation yet. I know that you are a fear of mine. I know that you are here in my consciousness, and you are my best creation. There's nothing wrong with you. Um, I love you, and I'm sure that even though you are a fear, I am still learning from you every day. And I do every day that I look at this situation that I live in, and I learn something, and I meet someone, and I open up, a new door or a new window. So when I was able to said, okay, this is a simple fear, this is a thought. All I fear is generating from my thought consciousness. So if I could just don't push that fear away, don't hate it, don't fight it, just confront it. I know that you are there, I know that you are here, and you are my creation because you are coming from my consciousness. That makes you part of my creation. And from what I understand, everything God created, He said it was good. So if I created a thought of fear of poverty, it's a good thought. Something needed to be learned from that thought. Perhaps is learning to be humble. If we were, if one of our lessons in life is to learn to be humble, we will give birth to these fears. They will teach us what we need to learn to move to the next level of our consciousness. And it hurts sometimes that to know, okay, well, when is this fear going to transform itself to something that I can actually be proud of or benefit from? You are benefiting every day. If you feel like you are learning from something, you are benefiting from it. No one said it has to be easy. No one says that, okay, fear is, you can never make me happy. Things doesn't make us happy. Believe it or not, whether it is things or people or places, that happiness was already inside of us. All that thing or that person or that situation did was poke at it a little bit. But it's already there. We are the embodiment of happiness. And if we could just really sit down and for 20 minutes in meditation and see that happiness is not outside of ourselves. It is in us. It is in our consciousness. We are constantly activating happiness, but the only thing is that we are not able to stay in that happiness for a long time. So we think we are sad, or we think we are depressed, or we think we are a failure because we are not constantly 24/7 being happy. But we have the seeds of happiness within ourselves to be happy all the time. Not every day, all day, but every day in a speck of a moment. You could say, I am happy. I choose to believe for the next 5 minutes, 20, 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. I am happy. And no one can tell me anything different. That usually helps me when I meditate or when I go for a walk. It usually helps me to get back to that consciousness that happiness is inside of me. I'm glad if I have $1 million. Yes, it poked at the happiness that was already there. Yeah, if my child did something nice for me for a change, yeah, he poked that little happiness. But it is not up to him or it to keep me happy. It is up to me to realize that the seed is inside of me. It is up to me to remember it on a regular basis. So this is my thought on fear, and everyone have them, several of them. Just the more you fight, the longer it stays. Stay happy. You are happiness. I love you. Namaste.